Hi, I'm Dave Birkett, Michigan football beat writer for AnnArbor.com, back with my colleague Mike Rothstein to preview the Michigan-Eastern Michigan game. But before we get onto that, Mike, let's talk about the big news of the day. Linebacker Jonas Mouton suspended for Saturday's game against Eastern for the punch he threw against Notre Dame's Eric Olson from this past weekend.
I mean, I can't say I'm surprised. Obviously, I wrote about that this week, that's what should happen. And there was a lot of flack caught for that. But at the same time, Rich Rodriguez handled the situation wrong. If he had just come out and said, we're handling it internally, I don't know if the Big Ten goes and does this. And that's a big thing. And it's going to hurt Michigan a little bit just because there's chemistry issues there. You're going to have a new guy come in. Don't know if it's going to affect the game at the end of the day. I mean, if Jonas Mouton is your difference between winning and losing, you have other problems, I think, against Eastern. But at the same time, it's another thing that they have to deal with.
No, it absolutely shouldn't affect the game. I mean, Rich said, Fitzgerald, Leach, they're going to have a few guys, Brandon Smith, they're going to play, so they're not going to be short for talent in the linebacking core. But you're right. While I disagreed with you about that Rich should suspend Jonas Mouton for a game, I do think Rich handled it wrong, and I think if Rich would have addressed the matter internally, maybe dealt some punishment internally, that this wouldn't have happened. The Big Ten wouldn't have had to step in. But it's a shame that it had to happen this way. But again, it's not going to affect the game. Do you think there's anything that Michigan could do to lose this game? I mean, 2-0, they're playing great. Tate Forcier has been out of his mind these first 2 weeks. Anything that
they'd have to lay an absolute egg, and I just don't see that happening because they're so much more talented than Eastern everywhere they can be, really. Because even Eastern's best player is this guy, running back to Wayne Priest. Brandon Miner's better than him. Carlos Brown is better than him. Vincent Smith, who will probably get on the field a little bit as a freshman this game, is better than him. So talent-wise across the board, and Rich is, Ron English is a first-year coach. Rich is a better coach than him right now for sure. That is something that I really see no way that Michigan can lose this game.
Andy Schmidt, Eastern's quarterback, he could be in for a big day. I mean, Michigan's secondary is one of the 10 worst, at least statistically, in the NCAA right now. But you're absolutely right. There's nothing that Michigan should do to lose this game. We're going to see a lot of freshmen play this week. Denard Robinson's going to get some more time at quarterback. You mentioned Vincent Smith, Will Campbell. I think we're going to see some of those guys in there. But regardless of who plays, I think Michigan is going to roll in this one. I have it 37-13.
I have it 45-10. Michigan. And one other thing, too, relating to the Mouton incident, is that it's going to give Rich a chance to play more guys at that position, which might actually be a benefit down the road. That's the one thing that probably will get lost in all this, is that, say a guy plays really well on Saturday. Now you have an extra option there. And that's a big, big thing when you're playing Ohio State, you're playing Penn State, you're playing Michigan State. And you might need more depth because guys are going to get banged up. Guys are going to get tired throughout the season.
Well, the incident itself is a black mark for Michigan, obviously for Mouton too, but it's a learning experience, and we'll see what Michigan can do with it. Again, join us next week as we preview the Michigan-Indiana game, and we recap Michigan's win over Eastern Michigan that we both predict at the very least. I'm Dave Birkett, Mike Rothstein for AnnArbor.com.